Alright, so welcome back to the last part of this training, which is receiving your goods in Africa. So the majority of the points here were discussed at the level or at the previous video, how to place your order. So receiving your goods in Africa, whether you are in Nigeria, Gabon, Guinea, or even Egypt, is possible thanks to freight forwarders. I think I explained this in an earlier video. Thanks to freight forwarders. So in every country they are freight forwarders. A freight forwarder, again, is a company or an organization who is based in China and also based in your country right there. So if you're in Nigeria, your freight forwarder will be based in China and also in Nigeria. So what do they do? When you order your product, you tell your suppliers to ship it to your freight forwarder and not to your country. So you tell your supplier, ship it to my freight forwarder. Now once your freight forwarder receives your products in China, they notify you in your country that they have received your products in China, and then now they are now responsible for taking your product from China to your main country. At once your product reach your country, there before you go to the agency, it could be an agency, so you go to the freight forwarders office in your country, and then you pay over there. Now there are two ways of shipping goods from China to Cameroon. The first way is by air, that is using aeroplane, and which is also the fastest method. Now freight forwarders, they could do this in express, or they could do this in normal. That is, they could either wait to gather some like, let's say some quantity of goods. Let's say they are expected to take about 100 kilos of goods over there before bringing it to the country. So if the goods do not reach 100 kilo, they are not going to bring it to the country until you reach 100 kilo. So if you order your products today and the goods are only let's say 75 kilos, you have to wait until when the goods, other people order their own products, and when the goods reach this 100 kilos before it comes to Cameroon. So that process takes about 15 to 20 days in China there, right? Now before they bring it to Cameroon, of course by air. That's the first method. Now the others, other freight forwarders, like the one I'm using here in Cameroon, which is a Trust Transit, they do the express delivery. That is, once they receive about let's say 10 or 30 kilos of goods, they ship it directly to Cameroon. So there's no waiting time here, and so this process takes about 2 days. It takes about 2 days. So if you're lucky enough, it can take like, if you're lucky enough, it can take like 1 day. I've seen freight forwarders that take 24 hours. I've seen others that take 48 hours. All right, so that's what I'm talking about. So the first one is by air. We have the express and the normal. Now the second one is by ship. So by ship, the delivery time is about 60 to 90 days, depending on the freight forwarders. Now you should also note that by ship, they how they calculate the weight of the product is different from how they calculate the weight of the product by air. So I had mentioned this in a previous video. The freight forwarders, if you are shipping by air, they have a standard with which they calculate your product. So if your product is 1 kilogram, and then you are taking the express shipping, they are going to multiply your weight, which is 1 kilogram, times about 10 to 11,000, depending on the freight forwarders. While if you are taking the standard weight, which is 15 to 20 days, they are going to multiply the weight of your product, which is 1 kilogram, times about 8 to 9,000. So it depends on your budget. If you want your product to arrive fast, you need to pay higher cost per kilogram. If you want your product to take longer, you pay lesser every day. So meanwhile, by boat, if you are shipping by boat, they if you're shipping by boat, they calculate your product with what they call CMB over there. So let me show you what I'm talking about. For example, let's go to Google here. All right, this is what I'm talking about. CMB is a cubic meter. So once your supplier package your goods in a carton, and then you want to send it by ship, so the freight forwarders are going to calculate the CMB of your product. That is, depending on here they don't look at the weight. So you can take like a fridge that weighs about let's say 30 kilograms or 50 kilograms. They're not going to take 50 kilograms times 10,000 or 9,000. No, they're going to take the CMB of the fridge, that is the height of the fridge, multiplied by the length of the fridge, multiplied by the weight of the fridge. So that's what we're talking about. So once they take that, the height times times the length times the width are there. So let me take you to my calculator and show you how they calculate CMB actually. So now, depending on the freight forwarders, every freight forwarders have their price per CMB are there, and that price is about ranges from about 250,000 to 300,000. Yeah, I know you might think it's too big. Let's say 250,000 per CMB, right? So let's say all right, let's put this 250,000 aside. Now let's say if your goods are there, you can just take an example of any carton in the house that you have at home there to calculate the CMB. Yeah, so let's say if you have your products, you know what, let's just take for example yes, let's take this for example, right? So let's say the length of your good is 60, the width is 40, and the height is 30, right? So they're going to take 60 times 40 times 30 and multiply it by 1000. That's a standard CMB. 1 million, forgive me. So they take the length times the width times the height and multiply by 1 million. That will give you your CMB. Now with that CMB now is with the CMB that your freight forwarder will multiply now by its own cost per CMB. Like we talked about 280,000 to 300,000. So let's say for a product that has a CMB of 0.072 over there, let's see how much it will cost you to ship it here to Cameroon. So let's just go to our calculator. It says 0.072 times, let's say the CMB to be 300,000. That's 300,000. So it will cost you 21,000 to ship it here to Cameroon. So despite the weight of the product, if you like you are taking better ions or machines inside that small box. So no matter how heavy it is, they're going to take the CMB to calculate your price, the price that you will pay once your product arrives in Cameroon. So that is it for shipping through a boat. Like I said, it takes about 60 to 90 days, and the price is calculated per CMB. Voila. So I guess that is all. We're talking about what here. We're talking about receiving your goods in Africa. So once your goods arrives in Cameroon, generally the freight forwarder contacts you. Thanks to your contacts which you have left when on your address. He contacts you and tell you that hey, your goods is now in Cameroon right there. So if they want you to pay, they'll ask you to pay before coming, or if you like, you reach at their agency, you pay and you collect your product. Let me show you a picture of my freight forwarder Trust Transit telling me to come and collect my product. All right, so here we are. This was sent yesterday. So my product was 9 kilograms, and it cost me 9,000 francs because they were charging 10,000 francs per kilogram, right? So they sent me a message telling me to come and collect my goods in Douala Aqua, right? So which I did. So that is how it goes all about. So once a product comes in your country, your freight forwarder contacts you and tell you that hey, your goods is here, come and collect it. Voila. So like you can see, Trust Transit, it seems that also in Dubai, I guess it's Dubai and China. Voila. So that is it for how to import from China using Pindoudou app. Right, we have seen the requirements, how to search for products, how to navigate the platform, how to discuss, how to place your order, and how you will receive your goods here in Cameroon. That's all for the lesson. Any other thing is going to be discussed inside the VIP Pindoudou group, which I will create. So if you have any issues, you can drop your questions in the group and I will reply you. Thanks. That said, thanks for buying this training. See you on the next training.